I'd like to call to order the Sacramento Transportation Authority and SAVSA for the meeting of Tuesday, May 9th, 2019. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll, please?
Absolutely. Good afternoon. Carr, Frost, Gatewood,
Here.
Gitta, Hanson, Harris,
Here.
Howell,
Here.
Hume, Kennedy, Lozano, Middleton,
Here.
Natoli,
Here.
Chenier,
Here.
Avis,
Here.
Suen, and Peters.
He'll be late. Soon will be late.
So it'll be late. Okay, thank you. You have a quorum.
And I'm here. Okay. Thank you. Do you want to read the statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
This meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T U-verse cable systems. The meeting is closed caption and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will replay on Sunday, May 12th at 2 p.m. and Monday, May 13th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. Members of the audience wishing to address the board may sign up using a speaker card at the back and bring it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the board and state your name for the record.
Thank you. Would everyone rise and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are you out of breath?
You ripped that off pretty fast there, Susan.
That was even faster than normal for you.
Sorry, I had coffee for breakfast. Okay, we do have a couple of off-agenda speakers. We have a 2-minute limit, and our first speaker is Dale Page, then James Cathcart, and then Jeffrey Tartagian. You're going to have to work on that penmanship, Jeffrey. And we have another one, Kat Gray. So first will be Dale Page.
Do you want this one? Timer up?
What?
I just asked if you had the timer up.
Okay, my name is Dale Page. I'm a resident of Carmichael, California. And basically, I just want to make a comment about the need to improve the transportation system within the county. Basically, the congestion is an impediment to personal use of your own time. It also costs a lot of money and resources for people to maintain and use the transportation equipment that they personally have to buy and purchase. And it excludes a subset of the citizenry which do not have the resources to be able to purchase a private automobile. So I'm asking you to provide better options for us with respect to transportation. As a commuter, I'll be better off if people use public transport and are not driving on the road. Or alternately, if I'm using public transport and not driving on the road, then other people who are driving their individual cars will be much better off. Reduce roadway congestion, and this transportation system that we have is good in certain respects, although it's sort of an arterial system which directs people to a downtown destination. And the Arden Arcade Carmichael area in which I reside, there are very few options as far as intra-region transportation. And I think we need to do something in order to improve the options that we have. And the statement that I've provided for your perusal later gives some ideas with respect to how we might do that. One of the things that seems to be dysfunctional about our transportation system is the way that we service our schools. The situation at the schools, you've probably observed when you've dropped your own children off at a school.
Hey, could you please wind up your comments, sir?
Pardon me?
You've reached your 2-minute limit. Could you wind up your comments?
Okay, sure. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. and I hope that you take the time to read the written statement that I made.
Thank you. And can I suggest you attend regional transit meetings, too?
All right.
They're the ones that make the decision on where the buses go.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. James Cathcart?
Okay, thank you. 6 o'clock.
Good afternoon. My name is James Cathcart. I'm here today to represent STAR, Sacramento's Transit Advocates and Writers, and make comments to Sacramento Transportation Authority. I have 5 points for your consideration. 1, mass transit is the most effective solution to traffic congestion, greenhouse gas and vehicle miles traveled reductions, and for much of Sacramento County, getting to people to where they need to go. Point 2, Sacramento Rapid Transit has the lowest level of funding for mass transit of any major city in California. No level of effort by Sacramento Rapid Transit can be completely successful without a higher level of funding. Point 3, it is time to make up for this deficit by investing most of the next tax measure to mass transit. Point 4, development of the tax expenditure plan must be based on goals and performance measures set ahead of time. The tax expenditure plan should not be developed until these goals and measures have been developed with community input and adopted by the board. Point 5, development of the tax expenditure plan, which dedicates more funds to mass transit, is the most effective solution to traffic congestion, greenhouse gas and vehicle miles traveled reductions, and for much of Sacramento County, getting people to go where they need to go. Thank you for your consideration to these comments.
Thank you, Mr. Cathcart. Jeffrey Tartagia? Good afternoon.
Jeffrey Tartagia. Once again, I will express the disappointment in that, again, who you have not been in contact with in regards to any of the effort in funding. Until you convince the rural community that transportation is important and that it helps and affects them in a manner or means, I think I can only say ditto to the previous comments and believe that once again, until this board reaches down to every Lions Club, to every provider of homelessness centers, in a sense, that impacts the dollars of what's going on, so you understand who your community is. I don't feel like you're, one, listening and hearing what your community is telling you. We get up here and talk, and yet look, and here you are from 2016, where you could have gone forward, and here we are 2019, 2020, and maybe you will have in 2020 the possibility of it being reduced down to 55% for going for measures forward. But again, it still does not get to the heart of the understanding of how little money is spent in transportation and how much is needed. Otherwise, you're going to become another, dysfunctional community. Once again, as the Sacramento News and Reviews reminds you of functionality and purpose.
Thank you, Mr. Tartagia. Ralph Proper, or?
That's me.
Okay, I'm not sure I pronounced it correctly.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Ralph Proper, and I'm with ECOS. I'm the president of the Environmental Council of Sacramento. We're a member of the SAC Moves Coalition. The coalition's purpose is to advocate for the funding and development of an efficient, sustainable transportation system. Yesterday, our coalition sent a letter to the STA board requesting more information about when and how the board will receive findings from the SACOG listening session process that Supervisor Kennedy and Council Member Chenier have been spearheading, that they told us about recently. Given that SACOG's process is meant to identify goals related to transportation from a broad set of stakeholders throughout the county, we see a lot of value in incorporating these findings into STA's work to develop a sales tax measure for next year. It's important that the STA Board adopt guiding principles and goals far enough in advance of adopting an expenditure plan to ensure consistency with community-identified priorities. Furthermore, we included a brief white paper summarizing data from various agency-sponsored economic analyses and transportation polling efforts that we think are also very valuable for determining regional transportation priorities. We look forward to following up with you on this information during one-on-one visits with you each over the next few months. And I guess happy May is Bicycle Month Day. I biked here today, but I do use public transit also. So, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have no more people signed up for the off-agenda comments, so we'll go to our Executive Director's report. Mr. Hom?
Thank you. We'll begin with Measure A. April Measure A sales tax revenues came in at $10.63 million. That's 40% higher than April of last year. Nevertheless, we shouldn't get too excited. We are still on track to hit our projected total of $129 million for this fiscal year. Last month, I reported that Caltrans received 2 bids for their I-5 HOV lanes project, and both were under engineers' estimates, which means that the $30 million of Measure A funds that we are pouring into the project will go even further. The contract was awarded to a joint venture between Tykert Construction and Granite on May 1st, and Caltrans will host public meetings before construction commences in July or August. I have good news to report regarding FSP. For years, we've not been able to get access to our state FSP funds until many months into the fiscal year. For example, in this current fiscal year, we did not receive our fund transfer agreement until Christmas, which is about 6 months late. I did receive a verbal commitment from Caltrans headquarters that we will, starting with this next fund transfer agreement, that we will receive them by September 1st of each year. So we are looking forward to that. Regarding Senate Bill 1, the California Transportation Commission has been holding workshops regarding the 2020 Local Partnership Program. So far, it appears that CTC will not deviate from their current formula. What that means is that in 2020, we can expect $7 million to come to Sacramento County to be allocated among the Measure A entities, and that all of our agencies can compete for $100 million statewide in a competitive construction pot. On page 2 of the Executive Director's Report, you'll see a schedule for the CTC, and you can see that it's very, very tight. The CTC will not adopt their guidelines October 10th, and on that same day issue a call for projects, but the deadline for applications is December 10th, which is just 2 months away, and our board meeting is after that. That means that we will have to, that your board will have to make allocation decisions at your November 14th meeting for the formula pot, and at your January meeting for the competitive pot. So there is a lot to look forward to in this fall regarding the local partnership program. Finally, my last note is that we will not meet again as a board until August. There is no June or July STA board meeting. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Hom? Mr. Antoli?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick note, if I could, Norm. So on the August 8th agenda, you show under bullet points on the agenda items, the Cosumnes River Permanent Open Space Preserve Fund. Is that what that's called, or is that just shorthand for what was called out for as far as setting aside funding for ag and or environmental preservation under the Measure A, or what is that actually a fund, and that's what it's titled?
That is exactly what the Measure A ordinance calls for, and that's exactly how it's called. We've never initiated the program, and so I am drafting a fund proposal for the program to launch in August. My plan is to complete the draft plan sometime this month or next and circulate it among the conservancy agencies, and to bring that to the board for hearing in August.
So was that the $15 million reservation? The funding that is that?
It is. It is $15 million for the Cosumnes River Permanent Open Space Preserve. I will be coming back with a recommendation to begin initial funding of that with $5 million.
For $500,000, right?
No, $5 million.
Oh, 5 million, I'm sorry,
5
5 million, I think you said 500, $5 million. Okay, all right, very good, thanks. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you for your report.
Your next item is your consent items. Items 3 through 9, with the exception of item 5, has been pulled from the calendar.
I'll move consent.
Oh, wait, before we do that, I have a question for agency counsel. Item 9, I just haven't seen something like this before. In the recommendation, it says, close the public hearing and adopt the budget resolution. Can we close the public hearing in a consent item?
I think you might want to pull that one off of consent.
Okay, I think that
Makes
makes sense. So you want to restate your motion?
I'll move the rest of consent.
Is there a second? Okay, we have Ms. Howell and Ms. Frost. And Mr. Kennedy chimed in, sort of. Oh, no, okay. All those, are we voting on the screen or?
No, voice.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Noes or abstain? Okay. Item passes, and call number 5.
Item 9.
I thought somebody she said we pulled 5.
Right, she did say that.
5 and 9.
We are pulling item 5 and we'll continue that
Oh,
until
altogether,
August.
not just to be discussed.
Altogether, until August.
All right, okay, then item 9, thank you.
Sorry. So then your next items, 10 or 11, are to be presented.
Item
No,
9.
9.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good grief.
And I'll second that.
Mr. Chenier and then Ms. Howell. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Noes, abstentions, item passes. Okay,
Okay.
next.
Now we're going to hear both items 10 and 11 together. 10 is new Measure A performance standards, and 11 is Measure A performance audit contract.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and board members. My name's Joan Barucki. I'm chair of your Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee. And I have 2 items for you for action today. The first item is the performance measures. The ITAC has been working on these performance measures for over the last year in anticipation of performing a program performance audit as required by the ordinance. We brought these to you last month for comment. There has been no changes since last month in those items. A couple of things to note. We are asking you to basically rescind the performance measures that you adopted in 2009 and replace those with these. In those existing performance measures, there are several items in Exhibit B and Exhibit C that will continue because those are in the requirements in the ordinance or in your MOUs. So such things as quarterly reporting, bridge and maintenance reporting will continue. The audit that these performance standards will cover will begin from the time that the program started, and it'll go through June 2018 will be the time frame. The standards cover performance of the agency, performance of the ITAC, compliance with the ordinance, and program effectiveness. And so we are asking you for a motion to rescind the existing performance measures and approve these performance measures.
Any questions or comments? Well, you want to take this together with 11?
Yes, please.
Really necessary?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then item 11 is the request to enter into a contract with Crow LLP, who also performs our financial audits, to undertake this program performance audit based on the revised performance standards and not the audit not to exceed $70,000.
I have a couple questions for you, Joan. If I'm reading this right, we're currently in variable bonds and we would be moving to variable bonds. Is that right? Or maybe,
That's item 12.
I think that's item 12.
oh, sorry.
Yes, you're ahead
Had
of
my notes on the wrong page. All right, we'll be prepared. Okay, any questions on 10 or 11?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Natoli?
Yes, just if I could match the attachments with what's described in the information that's in our packet. On item 10, we have attachment A, which is the local transportation impact fee program. And for Sacramento County, on page 3 of that, it says see attachment, but I guess I'm not connecting the whatever is supposed to be attached to that particular point.
You're looking at the existing performance measures?
I believe so, Joan. Yeah, it says.
So on that, you'll see Exhibit A, and then that next page over, it says Attachment A.
Yes.
That was the attachment
Okay.
to Exhibit A. And
then there's another attachment reference there. It says County of Sacramento Transportation Development Fees, see attachment.
yeah, this is actually what you adopted back in 2009.
So was, I guess my question, so was the attachment, is the attachment in our information, just not in this material?
I don't see it either.
It's referring to attachment A, but the document is actually called attachment A.
Right.
Is it referring to
It's a circuitous reference back to itself.
No, and I'm following that, but circuitous or not, there should be another piece of information for the County of Sacramento as an attachment to the attachment that was referenced in the performance measures.
I had the same question.
Yeah, it's kind of this, it's circle, but where, there's a piece of the circle that's missing here.
Yeah, Tim, do you see what he's referring to?
Yeah.
Under county transportation development fee, it says see
I see that.
attachment.
Yeah.
Basically, what it would look like is that it would be very similar to what's laid out for the other cities.
Right.
And it would basically address what in 2009 their fee rates were.
Right.
That's certainly not necessarily what their fee rates are today.
Right, Joe. So it's not missing or incomplete, it's just it wasn't included with our material. I guess that's my
Yes.
point. So we do have that, I assume we
That's
have.
true.
Obviously, I
Yes,
know the
that
county's
is true.
adopted it,
Yeah.
so.
Yes. That is true.
So, Tim, could you make sure we get that information so that everybody has that? Everybody else,
Yes.
It kind of looks like everybody else shared it, and we didn't share ours by exclusion
Okay.
somehow.
I think more importantly for the board would be to see where the rates are at today.
Right. Well, but you got to have something to compare to, and if we don't have
Yeah.
2009, you don't
Yeah.
know what to compare it to for any of the jurisdictions, but we do have for, I guess, all but the city of Alton and the county of Sacramento as far as, the city of Alton got just an appropriation at $200,000 a year, I think, for maintenance without having to have a development. I don't think they even had a development fee schedule at the time, so. All right, so you'll make sure we get that piece of information, which will help us then going forward to your point earlier about what we're proposing to adopt. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Can I ask a quick question for the Crow LLP?
Gatewood?
For Crow LLP, did you go out to bid or did we just pick them up?
Since they were already under contract and we had gone out to bid for the financial audit this year and selected Crow, we went ahead with Crow. We did get some informal bids from some others. Crow was probably in the neighborhood of what it would cost. We also thought there were some savings to be gained since they were already familiar with the organization as well.
Thank you, Ms. Howell.
Just a point of clarification, and I hate to be the one that brings this up all the time, but these are professional services, so professional services must be selected in accordance with state law, initially based on qualifications. It's not simply the lowest price.
Yes.
So if you look at it from that standpoint, they'd have to go out and request qualifications, review all the qualifications, then make the selection based on the best qualified firm, and then negotiate that price. So there's a fairly significant cost associated with that.
And Crow does have a substantial track record doing performance audits for other tax measure agencies as well as other kind of special districts.
Any further comments or questions on 10 and 11? Okay, is there a motion?
Let's do two separate motions.
I'll move 10.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Howell and Jeff Harris. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Noes, abstentions? Item 10 passes. And number 11, is there a motion?
I'll move 11.
Second.
Mr. Gatewood and Ms. Howell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Noes and abstentions? Item passes. Okay, now, number 12.
Number 12 is your Series 2014A bonds, mode, change, and ancillary services.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Authority staff, in conjunction with STA's financial advisors, have been working and monitoring the bond market after passage of the federal tax reform in December 2017. In particular, over the last 17 months, we have been looking at the costs of the 2014 A series bonds directly purchased by Wells Fargo Bank. Under a provision of the direct purchase agreement with Wells, when the corporate tax rates were reduced to 21% from 35%, the cost to the authority for those bonds increased significantly. The provision is known as margin rate factor. Based on a comparison of the cost for the bonds in direct purchase mode, as they currently are, and publicly traded variable rate mode, which we are recommending they be changed to, there is considerable cost savings based on the 5-year analysis performed. Moving to the variable rate mode is projected to save roughly $1 million over the term of the analysis. The savings is 1.3, but the cost is $350,000, so the net savings is roughly $1 million, generating additional funding for capital projects. Today I've invited STA's financial advisor, Peter Schellenberger with PFM, to provide additional context and answer any questions you have regarding this recommendation. In addition, if the board directs staff to move forward with this recommendation, then we need the board to authorize the executive director to execute an amended contract with Bond Disclosure Counsel, Nossaman LLP. The amended contract was included in the agenda packet posted last week, but since that time, the authority's legal counsel recommended refinements to the scope of services section. Therefore, I provided each of you with a revised version reflecting those changes. Now I'd like to invite Peter.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Again, I'm Peter Schellenberger from PFM, Financial Advisory to the Authority. I won't walk exactly through what Tim just walked through. The proposal here is, in the context of your portfolio, you have 3 series of variable rate bonds outstanding. The Series 2009C bonds, the 2014 A bonds that we're talking about here, and the 2015 A bonds. So 2 out of the 3 are in a current mode called variable rate demand bonds. They're in this current mode. The third that we're talking about today, the 2014 A's, were directly sold to Wells Fargo. And they were done so when the corporate tax rate was 35%. As soon as that corporate tax rate dropped from 35% to 21%, the income that Wells Fargo gets on these types of direct purchase or lines of credit becomes less valuable to them. Because they're taxed at a lower rate. And so in the process, they increased the cost of this facility by about 25 basis points. And so that's the proposition here. The contract in place permitted and allowed them to do this if there were a change in the corporate tax rate. So this was sort of contemplated in the documents. And so the proposition here is to move from that direct purchase that's currently held by Wells Fargo, convert that to the same mode that the other 2 series of bonds are currently in, just to reduce and take back that 25 basis points, which equates to about $260,000 of interest costs per year. So that's the savings that Tim is talking about.
Thank you. I had a couple questions about the variable rate, and I understand it's, if I read it, it's tied to LIBOR.
Correct.
Which, isn't LIBOR getting out of the business?
Yes, LIBOR is...
So what happens then?
Right. Currently, the contract with Wells Fargo does reference LIBOR. Mm-hmm. So that issue would go away if we move away from this contract into just publicly sold bonds. They're not tied to any index. The rate on your other 2 series, and if you were to move forward the 2014 A series, the rate on that would be determined by remarketing agents going out and taking bids each week from investors. And so it wouldn't be tied to a specific index. It would be simply tied to the market rate that week.
So
Then-
does that happen automatically, or would it come back to this board?
No, it happens
make a decision?
automatically. Yes, once you put this new mode in place, remarketing agents, which are underwriting firms, are charged with finding investors, whether it's Vanguard or Fidelity or somebody like that, to purchase your bonds, and then the lowest bidder that week wins.
So my ultimate question is, why aren't we looking at fixed rate? I understand you're saying we're saving money, but I'd like to see analysis of the of the risk of the change. Most jurisdictions are going to fixed rate to get out of the variable rate bonds, and without any information, it's kind of hard to see what the potential risk is here.
Okay, good question. So why not shift to fixed rate? These 3 series of variable rate bonds are associated with your interest rate swaps, the interest rate swaps. So also on the page that denotes the debt portfolio overview, you'll see you have $318 million of variable rate bonds. And back in 2006, the authority entered into a same amount, $318 million of interest rate swaps. So those two have to work together. As long as you have a swap, you need a variable rate bond. And then it results in a rate, and the total rate, what we call a synthetic fixed rate, is about 4.1%. And we have looked at converting and moving away from the sort of total swapped portfolio. Let's just make the swaps go away, refund the variable rate debt. That comes with a cost, and the net cost is probably about a $25 million increase in debt service through 2038. So sure enough, you're right, folks are attracted to interest fixed rates. They're a little less complicated. We continue to look at that move so we could simplify and move to fixed, but in doing so in today's environment would cost about $25 million through 2038 of total debt service increase.
But that you haven't told me what the ultimate interest rate spread would be on the variable rate, so how am I supposed to compare the two?
So through the mix of the interest rate swap and the variable rate bonds, the authority is locked in a rate. Because you receive a variable payment from your swap counterparty, and you use that to pay the variable rate bondholders. So as short-term interest rates, as variable rates go up, your receipts on your variable receipts go up, so it's offset. And so you're left with this fixed rate that the swap providers give, and that fixed rate is 3.7%. That's locked in. We take that 3.7% and we add to that the fees that are associated, that are paid to a letter of credit bank or a Wells Fargo. Those fees are about 40 basis points. So when you take the swap rate of 3.7, your ancillary fees that are not variable rate, they're just associated with a contract, the 40 basis points gets you to 4.1%. So your concern of, wow, will my costs change as variable rates change? It won't under this structure. Sort of locked, for better or for worse, you're locked into a rate of 4.1%. Pretty good rate, and if you wanted to shift from that to a fixed rate, it will cost in today's market. So,
Yeah, just for the future, I think it'd be good to have that kind of analysis in here when you're asking us to make this kind of change. Just because it screams out to me, the staff report does, for, well, what's the alternate? And because most jurisdictions are switching to fixed rate instruments because they don't trust the variable rate. And you explained that it's a mixed fund, but that all would have been helpful.
I hear you.
Are there any other questions about this? The recommendation is to proceed with the proposed changes to the bond program, which you'll be bringing back in the fall, and authorize the executive director to amend the board disclosure legal services contract with Nossaman LLP. Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move the item.
Second. So we have a motion from
Me.
Folsom and a second by Frost. Yeah, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Noes, abstentions, item passes.
Thank you.
Your next item is your unmet transportation needs presentations.
As the STA Board starts to think about a potential supplemental transportation sales tax measure in 2020, we first must identify the unmet needs in the county. So far, we've heard from all of the cities, plus the connector JPA. Today, we'll continue with the County of Sacramento and Caltrans District 3. First up is the county. Presenting is Rick Carter, Principal Civil Engineer.
Hello, Rick.
Hello. Good afternoon. As Norm mentioned, Rick Carter, Principal Engineer with the Sacramento County Department of Transportation.
Could you raise the podium so we can hear you?
There we go.
If you speak right into the microphone.
Is this better? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to provide a brief overview of the unincorporated portion of the county's transportation infrastructure, talk about some of the successes with Measure A and our unmet transportation needs. The graphic on the right shows in light yellow the unincorporated portions of the county. It's about 766 square miles. It is about 3/4 the entire county's area. County unincorporated portion has a population of about 589,000. We have 5,000 roadway lane miles. That's the 8th largest in the state for counties. We have an average PCI of 50, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. There's 234 bridges, about 31 of which are either structurally deficient or functionally obsolete. They require either replacement or significant structural work to bring them up to current standards. We have about 500 traffic signals we maintain. There's 23 interchanges that are either wholly or partially within the unincorporated county, and about 80 miles of Class 1 trails. Just to highlight a few of our capital projects that have been funded with Measure A. Picture here shows Bradshaw widening was completed back in 2010. You can see from the funding, without Measure A, that project would not have been possible. On Hazel Avenue, we have kind of a continued success story. We've been working on a series of projects starting at US 50 and working up toward Madison. In 2013, we opened up basically roadway widening, getting across the American River. Last year, we completed the work between Crow Downs and Sunset, and staff is continuing to work on the next phase from Sunset to Madison, planned for completion in 2020, and Measure A has funded about 40% of all this work. Last of the projects I'm highlighting is US 50 Watt interchange that was completed in 2016. This addressed considerable congestion around the interchange. It was a multimodal project. It created an exclusive transit lane for RT, and RT now serves the Watt corridor through there. It was also designed to provide quick and easy access to the Man Love light rail station. Additionally, it was the first interchange that's in this region that provides for Class 1 bikeways through the interchange. That's the photo shown here with a group of bicyclists kind of coming through the tunnel and making their way through. Besides funding major capital projects, Measure A funds maintenance as well as some other programs with the county. Significant portion of the county's roadway maintenance work is covered by Measure A, things like pavement rehabilitation work, pothole, crack sealing, slurry sealing, signing, striping, signals, drainage maintenance. In terms of our bike, pedestrian, and safety improvement programs, we use Measure A as grant matching funds for complete streets, bike lane type projects. We do ADA curb ramp improvements, traffic signal installations and upgrades, safe routes to school work, and it's a major funder for our neighborhood traffic management program. Does things like installing speed bumps in neighborhoods to control speed. Moving to our unmet needs, I mentioned earlier our county's PCI is at 50. This is quite a bit lower than I'm sure the motoring public would like, and certainly the county staff would love for this to be a bit higher. Our current unfunded backlog for maintenance, pavement maintenance work is at $789 million. SB1 has made a significant impact in improving the outlook that we had, but these numbers are assuming the funding with SB1. Our current budget with SB1 is still insufficient to maintain the pavement at a PCI of 50. Our projections are it'll drop to 34 over the next 20 years. At that point, more than half the roads will be in very poor condition, and our unfunded backlog will grow to about $1.7 million. Regarding needs for pavement maintenance, There's two graphs here. The orange one at the bottom, the bar graph at the bottom shows the growing unfunded need I just talked about, and the kind of the line at the top is showing the PCI dropping from 50 to 34 over the next 20 years. In order to sort of change that graph and maintain a straight 50 PCI, we need an additional 20 to 25 million a year. Over a 30-year horizon, that's about $750 million. What we would much rather see is the graph on the right. That shows our PCI increasing to 70 over about the next 15 years and then maintaining it there. That requires an additional $45 to $50 million per year above what our funding levels are now. In terms of unmet needs for capital projects, this slide highlights two kind of spot improvements. One is Hazel Interchange, solve the congestion issues that exist there. The other is the UPR Railroad Bridge on North Watt Avenue. At that location, the bridge constrains the road. We're unable to widen it. We're unable to provide the bike and pedestrian access that we'd like to provide. You can see in the photo on the far right, there's a tunnel that's there. That's the existing bike and ped access. That's not well used, despite that being the safe route through there. It's a significant cost to this project because of the railroad and the need to build a shoe fly in order to replace that bridge. I have a group of projects referring to as our capacity increasing projects. $800 million for 14 locations. These are road widenings as well as complete streets and ITS improvements. You guys all have a handout number 13 that lists all 14 locations. There's 6 shown here. There's just a sample of kind of the immediate needs. Another category is our arterial corridors. We're looking here at rehabilitating the street, adding complete streets elements and streetscaping. It's not capacity improvements. These sort of improvements revitalize corridors. You have a before picture here, and then a after concept where there's improvements to the look and feel of that. This is the sort of projects that revitalize corridors. They do improve traffic operations as well as increase mode choice. Again, the handout lists all 23 locations. There's just a sample of 5 shown here. We have a variety of other unmet needs fit into a variety of programs in the county. Our bicycle master plan identifies $700 million in bike lane, class 1 trails. Pedestrian master plan has $600 million in sidewalk infill type work and other pedestrian improvements. We are in the midst of redoing our ADA transition plan. It identifies about $200 million in curb ramp work, pedestrian signals, bus stops. A lot of the county roads in the rural area were built decades ago. They don't meet current standards. It's $160 million in need to widen the shoulders and provide the safety improvements to those. ITS improvements, we're looking at $65 million, and bridge maintenance and grant matching funds for bridge replacements at $50 million. All told, these summed up together, they exceed $4 billion. There is significant needs for the county transportation system. And that's the end of my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Thanks, Rick. Mr. Natoli?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Rick, thanks for the overview. I think that, again, obviously this is a summary, but yeah, when it comes to the Fix It First pavement maintenance rehab, obviously you give a big number there, but no photos attached, and I think it kind of understates where we're chasing the problem a bit. Obviously, you use graphs and charts that are parallel to what we've seen from some of the other presenters, the other jurisdictions. But one note I wanted to make, again, I'm going to quote you folks, I think we're on target this year, if not last year, to have attended to 50,000 plus potholes, and the numbers that I've seen, again, come across, at least information we have, that the average cost of filling a pothole is about $20, give or take. Again, obviously everything factored in. That's $10 million annually just chasing potholes. It doesn't lead to any repairs. It fixes the immediate problem, at least in passability and obviously traffic safety. That to me, we get this 50 PCI average, and again, obviously we have all members of the board have had staff briefings on that. And, I kid, but I'm half serious that I'd take 50 PCI in some of the roads in the district that I represent. I would gladly take a 50 PCI because in some cases we're down at 30 or 20 or even worse in some rare cases. It's not because we're negligent, and certainly I think you as county staff, certainly responding to county supervisors and the constituents that we represent in the unincorporated area, are attentive as best you can be. But that backlog continues to grow, and I know that we're just at the beginning of the season. We were a bit delayed in trying to do some of the pavement overlays and such. But I would just say that as the conversation goes forward, I think we need to be illustrative in a little more definitive way relative to what that means. Certainly to not just to travel, the traveling public, so to speak, but to the movement of people and goods, the safe movement of people and goods, and whether it's in the suburban or urban portions of the unincorporated area, but certainly in the rural portions, and those are farm to market, therefore school bus movement of children, and what we're seeing too, as people are looking to, and we may hear some of this as relates to congestion, but people are looking for other ways to get to their destination, whether it be their daily work and or travel in and around. We're finding that, again, the rural and suburban routes are becoming more and more congested. And I want to just note that this morning I was on Bradshaw Road going both ways this morning, and we tout that project. It was a great project, and and it was done during the recession for the Bradshaw widening and improvement project. But that pavement surface is already showing significant wear and tear, because obviously it's one of the routes where, in helping to build other road infrastructure in this community, we see a lot of hauling of aggregates and movement of other support activities. And I can just tell you that in 9 years, that pavement is beginning to show, again, significant wear and tear. And again, I don't know where that falls in the list, but it's in far better shape than a lot of other roads that run through some of our main business corridors and so forth. And again, I think it's important, again, certainly even in summary, a photo here and there that don't exaggerate, but certainly help tell the story, because it's one thing to say you got $780 million to $1.2 billion in backup, in backlogged maintenance. I think it's important to again tell the story a little more visually. So I guess I would just suggest that as a part of the presentation, and appreciate the work that went into presenting this today. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Yeah, I'd like to build on what Mr. Natoli said. I found a pothole. I went in and they fished me out 2 days later. Thank you to Metro Fire.
They ever find your van?
That's where it was.
So I'd like to say, the city did a pretty comprehensive survey of our roads and identified our needs. Our PCI is about 66 average throughout the city, and it's pretty rough. I have to tell you, when I travel on county roads, it opens my eyes, because with just SB1 funding, the city will find itself in the 50s in the next 10 years as well. These are very serious issues. I mean, some of these roads are very hard to gain passage on without damaging your car. Certainly, an awful lot of money is spent on alignments because of a PCI. Below 60 is a pretty serious deal. So my question actually is, have you done a comprehensive survey of county roads and understand what your backlog of unmet needs are?
Yeah, we just finished it.
Yeah.
Oh, good. It's published?
It's published.
Oh, great. I'll look for a copy, because
We'll send you an autographed copy.
I love it. And that one pothole, I really want it
You want to see
fixed.
that's on there? Okay.
Yeah, the graphs I shared are from that report.
Yeah, I thank you for your comments, Mr. Harris. I think all of our roads are in the county are in very bad condition, not only for cars and buses, but for pedestrians and bicycle riders. We get calls from bicycle riders that have got flipped out of their bike it's just very a bad situation. I wondered if you knew off the top of your head what the median is. Are there more roads below 50 and we've just got a couple that are above 50 and that evens it out?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm looking over
At the
to my
director?
director if he happens to know that off the top of your head.
Ron Vicari, Director of Transportation, Sacramento County. There is quite a bit more roads that are below the median. I would say, without the exact number, I would say it's probably around 40 PCI. And actually, because the cost of as the pavement deteriorates beneath 30 and you enter reconstruction, the cost gets so much higher that you see that brings it down. But the average is 50 PCI.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But there are more roads in the 40s.
That's correct.
Than that, okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Next will be Caltrans. Is Wayne Lewis? Yeah, thank you. Mr. Lewis?
Good afternoon, Chair Peters and members of the board. My name is Wayne Lewis. I'm Special Project Manager for Caltrans. It's my pleasure to talk with you today about how we've used Measure A funding in the past and to discuss investments on the state highway system that we think we need in the future to maintain mobility and vitality. First, I'd like to thank the STA Board and your staff for your past support for Caltrans' efforts to reduce congestion in Sacramento County. For the past 20 years, nearly all the funding that can be used to initiate congestion improvement projects has been controlled by local and regional agencies. The proceeds from transportation bonds, like those authorized by Prop 1B, and the revenues generated by the more recently approved Senate Bill 1 are primarily focused on construction. And even then, significant matches of local funds are required, usually. With that backdrop, Caltrans uses the flexible funding generated by Measure A to complete environmental studies and initial preliminary engineering for our congestion relief projects so that we can compete successfully for discretionary funding. With STA's help, we are making significant progress in completing a network of bus, carpool, or managed lanes on the state highway system in Sacramento County. This is a little bit hard to see, but the blue are projects that are just going to construction this year, green are projects that are just in the design phase, and red are projects that have already been completed. We've started kind of from the outside and are trying to fill in the inside. In the past 10 years, though, we've opened 2 major new bus carpool lane segments in Sacramento County. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ms. Howell has a question.
Could you define for me what managed lane network means?
Managed lane is a more general term that's like bus carpool, but in the future maybe it would be where you would have some kinds of pricing.
So right now it's probably HOV lanes and ramp metering?
Yes. It's
and you just said that 4-letter word?
Pricing?
TOLL?
Yeah.
It's something that we have to consider in the future. I think that especially when you're applying for federal money, they want to know if you've looked at those kinds of funding sources to generate the funds for your own projects before you come knocking at their door. So it's, in most of the country, that's something that is routine. And so when they look to California, they wonder why we don't do it more often.
Well, I think one of the distinctions, and this came up in several meetings over the course of the last couple of days and on the Cap-to-Cap trip in D.C., and this region is particularly toll averse. But part of the reason why when we've been successful at the federal level is because we do have the sales tax measures in place.
Sales taxes are very helpful. They've become so common that they're not a bonus feature anymore. They're usually more of a satisfier, that if you don't have one, it's hard to get into the game. But they're definitely very helpful, and the big thing is, as I mentioned, that the sales taxes are very flexible funds that you can go out and you can get a lot of the preliminary work done that takes a long time. Most of the competitive funding sources now just want to go straight to construction, so there isn't a big time lag between their commitment of funding and the actual seeing the funds employed. So that's why the flexible funding from Measure A is so important to us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be even in.
I think everybody here knows that. I just wanted to clarify that the 4-letter word was being bandied about. So.
It's being hinted at this point. In the past,
So
we've
back
done,
to our report.
in the past, we've done studies on both the 80 quarter and the 50 quarter, and with existing technologies, it doesn't make sense at the present time. As technologies change in the future.
Let's not get diverted on that subject,
Sorry,
okay?
I have a lot. I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate the rediversion. As I say, in the past, we've opened 2 new bus carpool lane segments in Sacramento County, 80 across the top from the Sacramento River to near Watt, and the US 50 Phase 1 project from Watt out to Sunrise. We will begin construction on 2 more projects this year and next because the STA Board accelerated Measure A funding for us in 2017. The contract for the comprehensive corridor project on I-5, as Norm mentioned in his report, was just awarded on May 1st, and we should start seeing construction later this year. And the US 50 Phase 2 project from I-5 to Watt will begin construction next year using a design-build process to expedite the completion. Preliminary work is already underway for 2 more corridors, the Cap City Freeway and I-5 from south of US 50 to west of Sacramento International Airport. The ultimate goal is a complete network of bus carpool lanes on the freeways. Our focus will be providing direct connectors and between routes and generally updating interchanges to smooth the traffic flows. The headline on this graphic from the Sacramento Bee asks if more carpool lanes are the right path. And the answer is yes, because bus carpool lanes move more people in the same space as general purpose lanes. That is why they are included in the MTP's Sustainable Community Strategies preferred scenario that meets the 19% greenhouse gas reduction goal. On State Route 99, over twice as many people are moved in the bus carpool lanes as the average in the number of people traveling in the other lanes. So they're twice as effective at moving people. Moving more people and less vehicles is the best way to reduce congestion on the state highway system. And the state highway system is the backbone of the regional transportation system. So reducing congestion there reduces congestion throughout the region. Bus carpool lanes are the most efficient way to increase the number of people moved on our highways. They provide a more predictable travel time for transit and emergency vehicles, and they encourage people to take transit or join carpools or van pools. In 2017, the state highway system comprised only 8% of the lane miles in Sacramento County, but carried 43% of all the vehicle mile travel. The percent of VMT on the state highway system has dropped in the last 15 years. Overall, the VMT has gone up 20% in Sacramento County, but the VMT on the state highways has only gone up 11% because we're full. And so traffic is being diverted onto the local streets. Those detours onto local streets and roads create the congestion you were concerned about, and they also increase the cost for local agencies to maintain those local streets and roads. So our goal is to keep as much traffic, the through traffic on the state highway system as we can. The slide shows that we received $52.8 million in approximately the last 10 years for 5 projects, and I'll go through them one by one. The Interstate 580 interchange, we received $1.5 million that covered about 30% of the cost of doing nearly a complete environmental document and project report. We couldn't finalize it because we didn't have funding for design and construction, but having that completed, we know that we could complete the across-the-top project and we can complete projects on I-5 without compromising our ability to do the interchange upgrade in the future. Measure A played a much bigger role in completion of the bus carpool lanes on I-80 from the Sacramento River to Watt Avenue than you might assume from the fact that Measure A reimbursed us for about 1/2% of the $136 million cost. That's because the availability of Measure A funding allowed us to get work going and compete for regional funding through SACOG and Prop 1B funding from the state. Later, it was decided that we would focus the Measure A funds on the Highway 50 corridor, which we'll be talking about. This is a good example, though, of how flexible funding from the sales tax helps us bring discretionary funding into the region. $54 million came from the Prop 1B Corridor Mobility Improvement Account, and $73 million came from the State Highway Operation and Protection Program, or SHOP. Caltrans District 3 has employed a successful strategy of coordinating capacity and operational improvements with our rehabilitation projects whenever we can. We've been able to capture cost savings from economies of scale, reduce total construction time, and minimize inconvenience for travelers. Original estimates for adding the bus carpool lanes on I-80 were much higher, but piggybacking on the SHOP project and securing Prop 1B funds reduced the cost to the region to less than $10 million. The 80 Across the Top project was open to traffic in February of 2016. The Highway 50 the STA contributed $32.8 million from Measure A and directed $7.2 million from the Prop 1B state and local partnership program for the first phase of the US 50 bus carpool lanes project. This $100 million project constructed bus carpool lanes from Watt to Sunrise to provide significant congestion relief in eastern Sacramento County. The bus carpool lanes were opened eastbound in 2011 and westbound in 2012. About 60% of the funding came from state sources like Prop 1B and the State Transportation Improvement Program. Measure A funding allowed the project to include community enhancements and improvements to RT's Gold Line as well. The early funding from the STA and SACOG for the bus carpool lanes on I-5 from Elk Grove to US 50 allowed us to complete design of a $275 million shop corridor improvement project in just 2 years. That's because the environmental studies and design progress made on the bus carpool lane project gave the shop project a head start. By being able to deliver the project that fast, we were able to get a disproportionate share of the early shop funding that was available from SB1 as well. We expended $3.2 million from Measure A during the environmental clearance process, and it was the STA Board's decision in 2017 to accelerate $30 million more that allowed Caltrans to successfully compete for $15 million from SB1 to fully fund this $332 million comprehensive corridor project.
Before you leave that subject, Mr. Stewart has a question.
Thank you, Chair. Wayne, I just wanted to confirm, it was awarded May 1. Are you still expecting a construction date of July?
Norm has a little better information than I do as far as meetings. It's got a little bit of a lead time.
July and August.
July and August?
July or August, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We just awarded the contract, but we haven't got an approved contract. And so as long as everything goes apace, we hope to have things moving where you can see activity later this year. But I hate to commit to a date. As you know, we advertised it once and had some challenges to those. Had to re-advertise. Fortunately, bids came in lower, and we're ready to go now.
Got it. Thank you.
The SB1 grant for the I-5 corridor includes funding for improved bicycle and pedestrian connections to the Cosumnes River Boulevard Light Rail Station, and new sound walls will be constructed south of Pocket Road. When the bus carpool lane project from Elk Grove to I-5 was cleared environmentally just a few years ago, the estimate to complete them was nearly $150 million. Combining the bus carpool lanes with the rehabilitation project saved more than $100 million from the original estimate to construct the bus carpool lanes as a separate project. Local funds from SACOG and STA represent less than 13% of the total cost to optimize I-5 from Elk Grove to downtown. The shop project includes pavement reconstruction, auxiliary lanes, pumping plant upgrades, replacing the Castellata pedestrian overcrossing over I-5, and more. Our goal is to get the state highway system in shape to where we have more of the traffic there instead of the diversions. The construction contract was awarded May 1st, and we just discussed we'll begin construction later this year. The US Highway 50 Phase 2 project, through 2018, we expended $14.6 million from Measure A for the environmental studies and design for Phase 2 on US 50 that will extend from I-5 to Watt. US 50 provides a critical link between all the other freeways in the Sacramento area, so congestion between I-5 and Watt impacts State Route 99, the Cap City Freeway, I-5, and even I-80 in Yolo County. The STA Board decision in 2017 to accelerate $12.5 million in Caltrans aggressive project delivery allowed us to successfully compete for $90 million from SB1 to fully fund this $442 million comprehensive corridor project. Measure A funds amount to only 6% of the total cost of this portion of US 50. SB1 grant also includes $20.3 million for upgrades to SAC-RT's Gold Line that will be constructed separately. Improving the segment of US 50 is challenging because 12 bridges must be widened and the vertical clearance must be increased at 7 overcrossings. Sound walls will be constructed on the south side of US 50 from Stockton Boulevard on-ramp to 65th Street as community enhancement. Combining the bus carpool lanes with the $324 million shop project creates savings from economies of scale and minimizes disruption to the public, as we discussed before. We anticipate awarding a design-build contract early next year, and construction should probably the middle of next year. We were talking before about the needs for local agencies, and a lot of that was focused on maintenance. Caltrans, we're fighting those battles in different arenas. We're focused mostly on the congestion relief, which we don't get a lot of funds directly for. This slide shows that we'll need, though, about $3.5 billion in additional funding to complete the managed lane network in the Sacramento region. The partially programmed, the green bar that goes horizontal, lists the next priority corridors in Sacramento County. I'd like to discuss 2 corridors in more detail, the Cap City Freeway.
Okay, we're beginning to run out of time,
Okay,
so.
I'm getting closer.
Yeah.
It's important, though.
I know it's all important, I just condense it a little bit, maybe.
I will. The Cap City Freeway is the biggest bottleneck in the region. That's why the technical, financial, political, and environmental constraints have precluded any significant improvements in the corridor for decades. But extensive public outreach by Caltrans and SACOG have confirmed there's now a consensus to move forward. Large employers, local governments, transit agencies, and community advocates have been participating in a technical working group. SACOG has allocated $14 million for environmental studies and preliminary design for the first segment from J Street to Arden Way. And an additional $417 million will be needed to construct the first segment. $400 million more will be needed to extend the lanes all the way to I-80. But it'll be important to have funding soon to begin the studies and environmental process if we want to secure construction funding later in a timely manner. The Interstate 5 bus carpool lanes to the airport, SACOG's committed $3 million to begin environmental studies for this segment. It's currently estimated we will need $500 million to construct them all the way from south of US 50 to west of the airport. Valley Vision has made improving this segment a priority because of its importance for goods movement, the need for better access to the airport and Metro Airport, and recognition that continued growth in this part of the county will increase the demand for better mobility. We'll have the extensive community outreach as we move forward. Already, most local governments are involved in the project development team. Before I take questions, though, I'd like to spend a little bit of time to point out that we've been unusually successful at leveraging the funds from Measure A and SACOG in the past. But we can't expect to get discretionary funding from either the state or federal government in the future without contributing significantly more locally controlled funding as a match to demonstrate the local commitment. Both the state and federal governments are trying to leverage their funds as much as possible, and the percentage of local funding is as important as project readiness when they make their decisions. Our recent successes at getting the funding to start I-5 and US 50 with only 13 and 6% of the funds from the local governments will be almost impossible to replicate in the future. For these projects, we benefited from, like I said, from the flexible local funding, some very aggressive project delivery in our district. Very strong political support was essential in getting I-5 and US 50 funded, and I'm trying to jump through, I'm sorry. And the availability of new funding from Senate Bill 1. The reality is that many regions in the state weren't ready when Senate Bill 1 passed. Because we had projects that were shovel ready, we were able to compete effectively, not only for the funding we got for the bus carpool lanes, but also for the rehab dollars. That put us in a great position, but the rest of the state has taken notice, and competition in the future will be much more competitive. We'll probably need 40 to 60% local matches to get in the game. So,
and does that complete your report?
That completes my report.
Thank you. I have a couple questions here. Mr. Natoli?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wayne, thanks for your presentation. I just wanted to take the opportunity certainly to thank you and District 3. I know you got Amarjeet here and other members of your leadership team for your work, certainly with the freeway and highway network and how it interrelates, obviously, to movement of people and in and about and through our community. I wanted to just touch real quickly on Jackson Highway 16, because I know we were in very serious discussions with Caltrans relative to the portion that would extend east from Watt to Grant Line, as far as maybe having it turned over to as a local street or highway. Obviously, that hasn't progressed with, I think, the anticipated timeline that both Caltrans and County Transportation anticipated. I just want to take the opportunity with both you and certainly our county leadership in the room, but that shouldn't negate the ability then to do some improvements that would help alleviate congestion, particularly at the Bradshaw and Jackson Highway intersection. I know we spoke about this, and I think opportunity, whatever happens with ultimate disposition of State Route 16 to the county or remaining in Caltrans, there are still improvements. We're collecting, obviously, development dollars, and there are projects that could help improve congestion, maybe alleviate some of the accident potential, and I think maybe help us with air quality as well. So I guess I would just suggest that as we look at these bigger projects that involve obviously major freeway corridors, that certainly State Route 16, we not lose sight of some opportunity to do some maybe more localized focus projects at current locations, anticipating that maybe someday we get the other piece of that accomplished. So,
would you like a response or?
Sure. Yeah. Very quickly. Yeah.
As you point out, we've been working for over 15 years on the ultimate transition of the Jackson Highway to becoming a local arterial. With the growth that's been approved by the local cities and the county, that'll be more of its function going forward in the future, and it makes sense to everybody. So all of our long-range plans have assumed that would be the case. The difficulty of getting congestion reduction funds, as I was talking about before, is that those are almost all completely controlled at the local level. And so that's a challenge. We are open to doing some improvements before a transfer of the property to you. As encroachment permits, we'd be willing to work as far as trying to adjust so that there's not a challenge as far as design standards and those kinds of things. But our goal is still to actually have the route transferred to the county and to the city of Rancho Cordova.
Right, and just to piggyback on that though, but we have major north-south corridors that intersect there, certainly within the framework of the county, the city of Sacramento, and obviously the city of Rancho Cordova. So I think it certainly would still be incumbent upon us to, again, working in concert with Caltrans and with those three local jurisdictions to see if we can't do, again, modest improvement. It may not be the widening of the highway or complete streets, but certainly at those intersections where we see significant movements north and south during the commute hours, but also the turn movements on, again, Highway 16 has picked up obviously much more traffic. So I just would encourage us, while we continue to work on the other aspect, it's taken us 15 years, and I don't know when the prospects of our bringing that into the local transportation system, then we need to work with you in concert as we have on some of these larger projects to see if we can at least make some modest improvements.
We definitely want to work with you as we meet regularly with the county and the locals, the other cities in the county to figure out how we can work together on kinds of projects like that.
Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Suen is next. I want to keep in mind we have to give this room up at 3 o'clock, and I have several public speakers too.
Thank you, Chair. Keep this brief. I just want to first commend you on the many achievements that you've listed here. We all greatly appreciate the partnership with District 3 and Caltrans. I just want to encourage you. You demonstrated a lot of efficiencies that you had in achieving these projects. So I want to encourage you to continue to work with all the local agencies here, especially when it comes to planning for design, planning for environmental documents, because as you know, as complex as these projects are, they take a long time. So to the extent that you can incorporate the local agency's ultimate visions into those designs and studies, I think we can all save time and also be more efficient with our dollars going forward.
That's our goal in the individual project studies, but also when we do the corridor management plans, so that we have a full perspective of not just the state highway, but the local arterials, transit, and other modes of transportation.
And the local agencies' perspectives too. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Wayne, and want to thank you and Caltrans for your work on HOV lanes on Highway 50, and particularly for calling out the need for the south area, south wall improvements. If either Norm or yourself at some point can get me the kind of the timing schedule for those, the sound wall. I know there's going to be some acquisition of property with the homes that are adjacent in that area. The only concern is we thank you for Caltrans for improving all the 59th Street exit potholes. They're much needed repair there, but one thing that came about was that the construction of that significantly impacts the adjacent neighbors, since all the construction starts around 9 o'clock at night. So when constructing the sound walls, if we could try to get those as we move with the HOV carpool lane, sooner the better, because we know that that's going to be a long time of construction, and want to mitigate the sound as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Howell?
Quick question. I just, the font was too small to read in the overhead. So if you could get the list of projects to our director so that he could get them to us, that'd be great.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Mr. Hom, did you have anything further to say?
No, thank you.
Okay, well, thank both the County of Sacramento and Caltrans for their testimony today.
For the time, sorry it took so long.
We do have a couple of speakers on this item. The first is Helen O'Connell.
Hello, Helen O'Connell. Thank you for hearing me. I'm concerned that they're going to upgrade streets and improve things, but we're also improving our bus system, and we need to make sure that there's access to the bus stops on sidewalks that is accessible for wheelchairs and people with other disabilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Helen. Hopefully you've conveyed your concerns to Regional Transit also.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Next speaker is Joanne Fuller, then Glenda Marsh.
Chair Peters and members of the board, I'm Joanne Fuller. I'm reporting from 350 Sacramento's transportation team. Preliminary report, we've been doing some polling of our members, and what we find is that, thank you, what we find is that they agree that our transportation system is a significant source of greenhouse gas emissions in the region, and they prefer walking and riding their bikes and taking RT over driving, and they really support public investment in transit. So we'll be getting all of the results of the polling we're doing to you all, but our goals are that we want to prioritize focus on reductions in air pollution and vehicle miles traveled. We want sidewalks and streets and roads accessible to all modes of transportation, and we need to provide benefits to all the communities in our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fuller. Glenda Marsh.
I'm Glenda Marsh, and I'm also a co-chair along with Joanne of the 350 Sacramento Transportation Team. And I wanted to follow up on the engagement, outreach, and goal-setting process for the proposed transportation sales tax measure in the future. It's not clear to us what the community outreach schedule is. We know that your consultant, Noah Painter, is supposed to be carrying the ball on that, but we can't find any kind of published schedule for when that period of time will be happening, for how long. We've been reaching out to a lot of partner organizations in the community just to let them know, gee, do you know this process is happening? But we don't know where to send you. We don't know when. And people are interested in sharing their perspectives on priorities and what constitutes a transportation improvement for them and their community. So we'd like to see a community outreach schedule that's posted, that's published, what the opportunities are, what is the time frame for providing that input, and how it's going to be used. Around goals, we understand that following the LA Measure M process, there will be some goals and criteria set for weighing all of these unmet needs and transportation projects for their productivity, for their efficiency, for what they bring and achieve for our future transportation system. And so what will those investments provide? So Joanne mentioned some goals we think are important. An example of that, I would like to say one thing that jumped out at me from the Sacramento County presentation was that their other needs list was sort of almost a side note, but it's really full of foundational improvements that help people walk, bike, to get to access to transit and move about their neighborhoods without having to be dependent on a car and create congestion, contribute to congestion, and contribute to VMTs and greenhouse gas emissions. Maybe one day all the cars will run on banana peels, I don't know, but we still have emissions issues. So I just kind of wanted to sort of suggest maybe flipping that on its head a little bit and finding out what kind of goals are we going to have where we can weigh the types of projects that the county presented in terms of what they achieve.
Ms. Marsh, could you wind up your comments? You're over your
yes.
time limit.
Sorry. And so we'd like to know how the goal-setting process will take place and when that will be performed. Thank you.
And the consultants are in the audience today, so if they are having trouble getting hold of you, he will seek you out. We got it here on videotape. Carolyn Flores is the next speaker.
Boy, I was sitting for a long time. This is my copy of the presentation. I only brought one copy. My name is Carolina Elena Flores. Ooh. Go ahead. I got you. Go ahead. Speak in. Okay. I'd like for questions to wait until I finish my points. In my area of South Sacramento, the biggest problem is the increased clogged traffic on Florin Road. During the commuter times, Florin Road daily resembles the LA Freeway with bumper-to-bumper traffic from 65th Street and Florin all the way down Florin to Highway 5. I would bet that most of those people in those cars are not residents that live in the South Sac area. People are using Florin Road as an alternative highway to 50 as an alternative Highway 99. Highway 99 is so congested that it's completely stopped traffic on 99 from 12th Street all the way down to Mack Road or Gerber. This has to be a top priority of the new transportation budget. We need this plan to rescue the South Sacramento residents from this traffic congestion. The second problem is the industrial traffic and large semi-trucks on Franklin Boulevard and Florin. These large industrial trucks don't belong in the residential area. When they turn corners, they take up 3 lanes or 2 lanes to turn, and they clog traffic to the shopping plazas and to back and forth. This traffic is paralyzed until these behemoth trucks have turned. I'm also concerned about their pollution to our air in South Sacramento. I don't see any government monitoring these diesel fumes they're tossing out. All those cars are also polluting our residential area, affecting the residents that live there, debilitating people with asthma and other health problems. We need more housing and less industry areas like the old Campbell factory. This industry stores that use that building occupy a large area of Franklin Boulevard at a time when we need more housing built in South Sacramento. They should move out to a more rural area and not add to the traffic congestion in South Sacramento. Somebody needs to buy that plant and turn it into a multiplex of houses, apartments, and smaller stores, grocery stores for that area. 2 words come to me: safety, access. Safety. We need better street lighting in South Sacramento, especially at Florin and Franklin. These are very large, dark areas. There are very large, dark areas where there's no street lighting to light up Lower Franklin Boulevard, except at the light rail area. There's large areas on Florin Road where there's no street lighting, like there is downtown in East Sacramento. This is a dangerous place for bikes.
Could you wind up your comments, please? You're over your time limit.
I'm sorry, the other people took a long time to speak, and I waited patiently for them to finish.
Oh, I know, and they all had 2 minutes, and you're at 2.5 minutes now.
All right. Access.
Make your most important point before you close.
I'm trying to do that.
Okay.
Access. Transportation needs to assess the needs of the people, the disabled people, the Sac City employment offices at Broadway. We need to be giving free tickets to veterans, free tickets to chronically disabled, free bus tickets to immigrants who are in poverty, free tickets to women with young babies that need to take the babies to the doctor's appointments, and free tickets to anyone that lives in economically depressed areas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, does that finish our business?
Yes, you just have your comments of your authority members.
Pardon me?
You have your comments from your authority members. Anybody?
Anyone wish to make additional comments?
No.
No?
I submitted a comment card, but I don't know if you got it. My name's Kat Gray. I'm a Sac County resident, parent, and cyclist, and new volunteer with 350 Sacramento. 350 Sacramento asked the board to fully fund RT's request for low-floored light rail vehicles to accommodate bicyclists of all abilities. We can all agree that more bikes is a win-win. The current light rail vehicles present many challenges to cyclists, including stairs that many riders have a difficulty lifting the bikes upstairs. That's especially true for youth, women, and older folks. With doors closing before you're able to get the bike up. We're working on a preliminary survey of cyclists' experience boarding the light rail with bikes, and we have a few photos to share to show some of the early results that we have. Is there a way I can show these?
Okay, put them on the white spot on that smaller desk.
Okay, so here's a photo I took this Sunday at Watt Manlove. 10 bicycles on board, and then you can see there's someone else trying to bring a bike on board. It was really awkward. Let's see. He's having an easier time of it because he's, a strong man. But here we have a woman with a heavier bike, and the door kept closing, so she was having a hard time struggling with that, so he was holding the door for her. Here's a photo of a youth attempting to bring a bike on board, and he was also struggling with the doors closing before he could get it up. So these are just some preliminary photos of the survey that 350 Sacramento is doing to hopefully improve access to cyclists on light rail. Thank you.
Hey, and I don't have a speaker slip for you, so if you'd fill one out and give it to our clerk on your way out, I'd sure appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, I don't see any further comments from the board. We're adjourned until August.
August.